Welcome to AIWF Ringside Wrestling for January 13th, 2022. Good evening, everybody. Good to have you along. I am Mad Matt Carter coming to you from the PWD studios in Concord, North Carolina, which, is my living room. But we have the first of some of our upgrades coming next week, I believe. Yeah, so very interesting things going on around the wrestling world. Joey Nuggs is joining us. Good evening, Joey Nuggs. How are you tonight, sir? He's on mute. There we go.
I am doing very well. How are you today, Mr. Carter?
Thank you. I'm doing well. So we have a ton of announcements to go through tonight, and hopefully one Corey Edsel. I reached out to him last week after the show. We talked about him at length. I think you'd be very interested to have him on Joey Nuggs, because the rumor is, have not seen an official announcement yet, but at our show, the Mid-Atlantic show on February 5th, Dangerous E. Corey Edsel against Jack is the rumor I'm hearing. And I have not heard an official announcement, and I don't know how much you're willing to tell me, but man, if that goes down, that's certainly a matchup I'll be looking forward to.
I've heard the same rumor, but nothing has been officiated. Nothing has been finalized. Nothing has been notarized. Nothing has been put on paper, on ink that I've signed yet.
Okay, so it has not come across your desk yet. Okay.
Not as of yet. Not as of today.
All right. Well, we still got plenty of time to get those things finalized. I'm sure there's going to be some great match announcements coming in the next few weeks. For those of you who are interested in our Roku channel, guess what? We had one of the old AIWF TV shows added to the Roku channel from spring of 1996. Actually, before I joined up with the promotion, that happened. So, I'm trying to share my screen, but
I actually was watching that earlier on my Roku.
Awesome. Yeah, that very interesting back then. And you see, the show was so popular at that time that you notice the number that you had to call was only displayed at the very beginning of the show, and the phone stayed hot the whole time. People knew the number back then, and I had not had a chance to talk to Charles Rourke recently about the show going up there, but I'm sure he'd be thrilled to see that that has gone up. But certainly things being added to the network. Very. Not as quickly as I'd like personally. That's just me, but they're going up there, and we're working very hard to get those things up there for you guys, and hope that you can enjoy them. I'm waiting to get Seasons Beatings on there. It did really good, and I'd like to thank all you fans. Last week, our show numbers were higher than they have ever been since we started this show. Our Facebook numbers were really good last week. The YouTube numbers are, because, we're not streaming this live on YouTube. We have our great production staff actually take the video and do some magic with it and get it to us on Friday. And we usually try to get the thing up on Friday for you. So if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. But if you would give us a like and subscribe over on YouTube, we'd certainly appreciate it. And if you'd share this video with your friends, we'd certainly appreciate it.
Tell them what the channel is so they can go search it.
Do what?
Tell them what to go search on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. AIWF Ringside Wrestling. That's all you have to do is type that into your YouTube machine, and it will take you to the page, and you can see pretty much all the shows except there for when we first moved over to Facebook. We missed a lot, but you can actually see the very first show. Daniel Halen was the guest on that show. And so, you can go back and take a look at it. But for advertising inquiries with us here at Ringside Wrestling, including live events, the AIWF Roku channel, if you slide me a $10 bill once a month, I can get you a 1 to 2 minute read on this program, and we'll be glad to do that. Talk your business up. If you own a small business, restaurant, so like King's Hot Dogs, or some of you folks in Mount Airy that have restaurants, Dairy Center, I got my eyes on you. Might be paying you guys a visit on February 5th. $10 a month gets you a 1 to 2 minute on this read on the show, and that's every week. Every week. So sometimes we miss a week because somebody's on vacation, generally me. Like we're probably going to miss the second week in February, but you're looking at 3 or 4 times a month, you're going to get mentioned on this show. And if you want to add to that, we can get you some really good sponsorship opportunities coming up for the 30th anniversary show, as well as our live wrestling events at Veterans Park right there in Mount Airy. So really, I'm aiming this at you small business people in the Mount Airy area. Of course, if you got an online business, like you graphic design or something like that, and you want to get a plug on here, $10 a month, brother. You can't beat it. You can't get out of Starbucks with 2 cups of coffee, venti size, for $10 a month. So hit me up. And of course, I will be doing a little pavement pounding when I can, coming up in Mount Airy for our February show. So if I walk into your business, don't immediately run away. I'll talk to you for like 5 minutes and be gone. So anyway, we are on Instagram now. If you're watching the Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Instagram page, you saw a report that I filed from the Bojangles Coliseum this past Saturday night at Battle of the Belts in the parking lot there. And that turned out to be a great event. Our own Casey Fox, the AIWF Mid-Atlantic's champion, jumped in the deep end of the pool that night, Joey Nuggs. She
was up on the big time?
Yes, she jumped up in a big time and stepped in the ring with Thunder Rosa. And let's just say that after the introductions, Casey Fox, I was reminded that Casey Fox is still a rookie in this business, pretty much. Because Thunder Rosa definitely took her to task, but you can see that.
I'm sure, yeah. She's a seasoned vet.
Yeah, and Thunder Rosa is another one like your guy Jack, who is combat sports trained as well. So,
yeah, she's a real badass.
Yeah, she is. So let me talk about the sponsor that we do have right now. Branch Management, our tree service that operates in the Mount Airy, Surrey County area of North Carolina. They can help you with branches that are maybe too close to structures, normal pruning, or complete tree removal. They offer very competitive rates and free estimates and are here to serve you. You may be also eligible for a $100 referral bonus. For more information or to set up an appointment, just give them a call at 336-325-5300. Again, that number, 336-325-5300, to get you in touch with Branch Management. And appropriate that we're talking about a tree service here. There's bad weather coming this weekend to North Carolina. And I think that in the northern part of the state, they're going to get it. We're looking at some kind of snowfall here, even in Concord and the Charlotte area. I can't believe it because it's next to impossible for it to snow here. But in the northern part of the state, I think they're going to be getting a lot more. So if you've got a tree that's got some sketchy looking branches, man, that you do not want getting frozen over and falling onto a structure, you need to call Branch Management quick, fast, in a hurry. As a matter of fact, you can give them a call tonight, 336-325-5300, and we'd like to thank them for their support. All right, let's get into the announcements, and then we'll get our talk underway. I see Corey Sawyer has joined us, so thank you, Corey, for coming along. But here we go. Tennessee All Pro Wrestling comes your way on January the 15th. That is this weekend, I believe. Look at the old calendar. Yep, that's Saturday night at the Victory Center at 5542 Manchester Highway in Morrison, Tennessee. Doors open at 6:30. Bell time is at 7:30. Look at that price, folks. You cannot beat that. Adults $8, children 6 to 12 $6, and kids under 5 free. From MLW, Alex Kane is going to be there. From AEW, Ashley D. Amboise, I think is how you say that. And then from Impact Wrestling, Rachel Ellering, who I believe is the daughter of legendary manager Paul Ellering. Is that right, Joey Nuggs?
I do believe you're right 100% on that one.
Yep. So she comes from good stock. A lot of people do not know this, but Paul Ellering was quite the wrestler himself.
Oh, yeah, he really was.
Suffered a neck injury in the early 80s and had to retire early, but he was, and talk about put together, man. You know, I think he defined the term gym rat before it was ever invented. So also our affiliate ARW is having their big show on Fight TV this Thursday, January the 13th. Wait a minute, that's tonight.
Yeah, that's tonight.
At 8 o'clock. So after you get done with us here, you can flip on over to Fight and catch that. Extreme Takeover Thursday. That's tonight at 8 p.m. on Fight. As you can see, Duggan looks like he's going up against Moose, and Vincent is going up against Ryzen. That's about all we know. That's the only advertising they put out. So check them out over on Fight. Now, here's a fairly new promotion that I ran across here, and I did it because we're looking in the local area. Now, it looks like they're going to be running Lincolnton, North Carolina, Lincoln.
Yeah, Lincolnton.
I don't know. I don't think that.
Yeah, I think they misspelled that on the flyer, brother.
Yeah,
but that's anyway, definitely not how you spell Lincolnton, unless that's another town I don't know about, Lincoln.
I don't know. We're
never heard of Lincoln. I think that's a misprint. I want to contact them and ask them, not to make them feel out of place, but hey, you might want to check that if that's supposed to be Lincolnton.
Yeah. But anyway, I assume that it's Lincolnton. See No Evil Wrestling presents this Saturday, January 15th, Evil Begins. That's 3295 Long Shoals Road in Lincolnton, North Carolina. And that's Evil Begins. So they're a fairly new promotion that I know of. So wish them the best of luck. Lincolnton's a good wrestling town. Big time wrestling's drawn some pretty decent crowds there before.
Yes.
So also coming up, January 22nd, it's New Year's Revenge down in Paris, Texas. Get ready. 325 Clement Road, Paris, Texas. Tickets are $15 for adults, $20 for a couple. So you bring your significant other and save you a few bucks there. Kids 12 to 5 will get in for $5. And of course, the card's subject to change, but they don't list any matches. So not a big problem there. It looks like about 3 different promotions working together on this card in Paris, Texas. That's New Year's Revenge coming up next weekend, January 22nd, 2022 in Paris, Texas. Now, here's one a little closer to home. This is our friends at AWS. This is the promotion that Michael King and King Enterprises are bound and determined to take over, I do believe. It's at 1742 Nices Highway in Orangeburg, South Carolina. The fans choose the matches. Oh, God, that's going to end in disaster, I'm afraid. I hope not. Sunday, January 23rd, 2020.
How do you let the fans choose the matches at your event? How does that work?
I have no idea. They're going to let people draw them out of a hat, or what's going to happen there?
It might be interesting.
I'd say it's going to be the Mystery Brawl Alternative Wrestling Showcase. Comes your way next Sunday in Orangeburg, and admission is only $5. Wow, you can't beat that. I mean, that's
no, you can't. $5. You can't go to movies for $5.
No, not anymore. You can't, not unless you go to the real early.
Yeah, early matinee at the Dollar Movie Theater.
Yeah.
Go to Walmart and load your pockets up with candy bars and sneak in.
No kidding. So yeah, Mystery Brawl. I'll be interested. I really need to get Michael King on this show next week, and
yeah, get him in here. I'd love to talk to some other managers. Respect any managers out here.
Yeah, Michael, if you're watching right now, you can go ahead and jump in. The links all over the place. If you want to jump in and talk about the show a little bit, because I do not see Smiling Diamond Dave. Kevin Stryker is not going to be able to join us tonight. We had an all-star lineup last week, and So
yeah, we did.
And so when we're short on,
Yeah, you can't
we're
get better
short.
than that. You had the world heavyweight champion Damian Wayne here.
I know, and he is a busy bee. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
if I put all of his title defenses and dates on this slideshow, it would take me 2 hours just to read the slides. He
I
is
saw it. It was like a list like this long, and it was after they already posted it, there were more dates coming on. I seen that there was a couple more they added on a West Virginia or something. It was like that. I was like,
guys all over the place.
Yeah.
Incredible. So you want to be a world champion, huh? Well, Damian Wayne is a true traveling world champion. So here's our friends out in OKC, down at Empire Pro Wrestling. They finally announced another card, Nuclear Warfare 2. Now, don't be afraid, folks. It's just going to be wrestling. They're not going to be setting off any nuclear weapons in Oklahoma City. It's Saturday, January 29th, 4605 South Pennsylvania Avenue in OKC. Doors open at 5, bell times at 6. All tickets just $10. A great affiliate, Empire Pro Wrestling. And we certainly are glad to see them back up and running. And speaking of up and running, what has happened to our friends at Shockwave Wrestling Entertainment down in New Bern? I hadn't heard from them in a long time. So if anybody out
you
there,
got me really wanting to go to New Bern and see an event as soon as they run. You've been talking them up so much.
Yeah, they might be taking a winter break. I don't know. I just couldn't tell you. So Bad Boys of Wrestling, this is featuring a friend of the show, Miss Jasmine Hayo, and she's going to be wrestling Ms. Divine for the women's title of Bad Boys of Wrestling.
As I say, Augusta, Georgia, home of James Brown. Hi.
Yeah, and Augusta National. My nephew out in Arizona is really into shooting golf, so he likes the Masters. So then they have that down there. So, but January 29th at the Augusta Fairgrounds, looks like it's 2 cage matches on this card. The address is 308 Hale Street in Augusta. VIP tickets are $12. General admission tickets are $10, and the bell time is 8 p.m. on that one. For more info, you can call telephone number 706-945-2676 for more information about the big Bad Boys of Wrestling event coming to the Augusta Fairgrounds on Saturday, January 28th. All right, American Hostile Championship Wrestling returns to Malton, Missouri. This one's a little out of the Mid-Atlantic area. February 12th, 2022, at the Malden Community Center at 607 North Douglas Street. Ringside admission $10, general admission $8, under 5 are free. Advance tickets $1 off. Card subject to change, but it does not list where you can get advance tickets at. I would just invite you to search them out on social media, American Hostile Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, that's American Hostile.
American Hostile. Okay. I'm pronouncing it like hostile, like,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Go on.
It's hard for me to resist it.
That's all right. I mean, and it's kind of stretched out too, so.
Yeah. I had to stretch it to fill up the box a little bit on the slideshow. So, I mean, of course, the big show that we're looking forward to coming up very, very soon is going to be our Mid-Atlantic show, February the 5th, 2022, as we work toward the 30th anniversary event. It's at Veterans Park on February 5th. Tickets as normal, $8 ringside. That's on the floor, $6 for general admission. Doors open at 4. Special bell time, 5 p.m. for our shows during the winter, 5 p.m. on those shows. So, gentlemen, that's all I have for announcements. We don't have a ton of guests. I was hoping Corey Etzel would come on here and tell us a funny story about Chris Severn, but evidently he can't make it tonight. But fellas, I'm not going to draw it out and make it a long show if it's just us nerds in here. Is a couple of things I do think we need to address. Ricky Morton announced yesterday on social media that him and Robert Gibson are doing their farewell tour as a tag team.
Yeah.
Starting this week. I myself have got tickets for Spartanburg on the 22nd for the big time wrestling event coming to the Spartanburg Memorial Auditorium. And look, guys, there's plenty of tickets left there. Very affordable. You can buy general admission seats and sit anywhere you want in the bleachers. It's a very fan friendly building. Magnum TA is going to be there. Nikita Koloff's going to be there. Arn and Brock Anderson are going to be there. And because of Arn Anderson's podcast, I have discovered the best damn steakhouse in Charlotte. It's called Beef and Bottle. I'm going to give them a free plug. It's down on South Boulevard. And brother, if you want to wrap your teeth around a good steak or some good seafood, just put Beef and Bottle, Charlotte, North Carolina in your Google machine. It'll tell you everything I need to know. It was a little pricey, but when I mentioned that Arn Anderson I told the owner how much I like the food, and I said, I found this place because of a wrestler named Arn Anderson that comes in here, and he's like, oh yeah, I think Jerry knows him or something like that. And then he was like, yeah, he usually sits in that booth right there. And I'm like, oh, okay. So when a world-class, very well-traveled man like Arn Anderson recommends you go eat someplace, and a man who's eating everything from fine Japanese steakhouses all the way to gas station fried chicken, you listen. And he was right.
And the best thing about that is it was right up the road from the Coliseum.
Yeah, it was. It was a great place to. It was.
They had a couple of them back then. There was another. Charles Finnegan's or something. They always talked about. They always went to. It's not there no more. Bennigan's. That's what it was.
Yep, Bennigan's.
Yeah, it had to be on East Independence someplace because they always talked about they went to it.
Yeah, I can't remember where they said that Bennigan's was. I've heard many stories about wild nights at Bennigan's and Wahoo McDaniel taking care of business with lippy fans inside Bennigan's. But I grew up in Martinsville, Virginia, and Wahoo McDaniel actually used to stop in to Kilby's Steakhouse in Collinsville, and people would want. I don't know why people would want to test Wahoo, but if he was in there drinking and somebody mouthed off to him, he was going to show him how real wrestling was. Yeah. And eventually they had to bar Wahoo out of Kilby's because he would break so much furniture, when people would try to fight him,
right.
Because Wahoo never backed down from a challenge. Hey, you want to hear some good Wahoo McDaniel stories? You ask Rick Diesel. Rick Diesel was mentored by Wahoo McDaniel. So, unfortunately for me, by the time I got turned on to wrestling, it was like 86, and Wahoo's career in this area was winding down. And so I only actually really became a big fan of Wahoo in the last 2 or 3 years since the WWE Network and now Peacock had come around, and I could go back and watch those old Mid-Atlantics from 84 and 85 and even earlier and see some of Wahoo's great work, man. That dude was incredible, an incredible athlete. So
what's that there, Bobby Dalton? How are you today, sir?
I'm a little under the weather and working a little bit, but I'm all right. But you're talking about Wahoo McDaniel. I'll tell you what, outside the ring, he was a nice person. I met him a couple of times, but inside that ring, it was on. You mess with him, you're going to get chopped. And to this day, he still had the hardest chop of anybody that's ever stepped in the square circle.
Yeah. Oh, I know Rick Diesel would agree with that. He broke one of Rick Diesel's ribs in a match one time many years ago. So, yeah, like I said, you want to hear some Wahoo stories, man, you just catch Rick Diesel when he's standing still, which is not very easy to do, and he'll tell you some stories about Wahoo McDaniel. I kind of was thinking about doing like a My 2 Cents type commentary a little bit tonight, and since we don't have a lot of guests on or a lot of things to talk about, I did want to talk about what I saw at Battle of the Belts Saturday night in Charlotte. It was really cool to go into the Bojangles Coliseum, which was the old Charlotte Coliseum, and see wrestling in there. The last wrestling show I went to in there, the only other time I've ever been in a building was back in '97 at WCW Slamboree, which was a pay-per-view event. Now, if you remember, that's where Mongo McMichael wrestled Reggie White on that show. If you remember that, the main event was a 6-man tag that left a lot to be desired with the NWO and then Roddy Piper and I can't remember who else was on the other side, but I remember like when that match ended, everybody got up and started to leave, and I was like looking around going, "Is that it?" And so I didn't go to any more WCW pay-per-views after that because I felt like I did not get my money's worth. But it was nice to go in that building, and I'm gonna tell you what, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara tore the house down. I don't know how it came across on TV, but they absolutely tore the house down, and the crowd was so lit for that. And Dustin Rhodes was on Twitter earlier this week talking about that was the best match he's had in his career, and I ain't gonna argue with him. It was freaking fantastic. Some of the other stuff that went on that night left a little be desired, but in their defense, they were filming. They filmed a lot of AEW Dark that night. Tried to give us some good matches at the end of it, but you know, AEW Dark has got a lot of what we call squash matches. You know,
Yeah.
with your name superstars, like what happened to poor Casey Fox against Thunder Rosa. And I hate to call that a squash because Casey was game, man. She attacked Thunder Rosa before the bell rang, and it was really getting after her. But you know, she just the experience caught up with her really quick. You know, the experience difference. It's not a knock on Casey. Like if I got in the ring with Thunder Rosa, even being a dude and as fat and out of shape as I am, Thunder Rosa could probably tap me in about less than 10 seconds.
No, it's an honor to be in the ring with Thunder Rosa. I mean, she is one of the best there is in ladies wrestling. And yeah, she's a name. It's an honor to be in the ring with her. It's definitely a feather in her cap.
She's definitely one of the best around. That's no doubt.
Definitely.
And another lady that I saw in action that night, it's also on the AEW Dark, if you want to watch it on YouTube, from the Charlotte Coliseum, was Shalance that came up, the lady from Georgia that came up and wrestled Casey and Ella Envy back during the summer.
I seen her wrestle at the Gathering too, and she was managed by Dark Journey that night.
Oh wow!
And that was awesome. Yeah. They were, and believe it or not, they were the faces, and she went again. They went against Baby Doll and Baby Doll's daughter, Samantha Starr.
Oh, okay. So Samantha Starr is Baby Doll's daughter.
Yes.
I didn't realize
which is the daughter of Sam Houston, the niece of Jake Roberts, Rockin' Robin, and all the rest of them.
And grandchild of one Grizzly Smith.
Yeah, but no one really wants to talk about him.
Yeah, well, you know, I wasn't there, so
enough said.
Yeah,
he's got a bad name on himself, to say the least. I mean, I wasn't there, like you say, but hey,
yeah,
one hell of a wrestler, though. That was for damn sure.
Oh yeah, and you know,
Booker for years in different companies.
Yeah, and he. You know, he was Bill Watts' right-hand man for the majority of Mid-South. You know, he went to all the live events, made sure the ring got there, made sure the wrestlers were there on time. So, you know, I know that a lot of people, Grizz has a dark past. We don't know how much of it's true, how much of it isn't. You know,
right.
The man's not here to defend himself anymore.
Wow.
And I'm always real careful about passing judgment against people who are no longer with us.
Especially because I don't want no one to pass judgment on me. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, and, I mean, it's real easy to attack somebody that can't defend themselves.
Yeah.
And I will say this, and I'll caveat this point, is you remember several years ago, all these bad things came out about the Fabulous Moolah, and they ended up dropping her name off that Battle Royal at WrestleMania, you know, because it kind of freaked Snickers out a little bit, and they didn't want to lose their primary sponsor. And I understand that, man. Snickers is trying to sell candy bars to little kids.
To kids. They ain't trying to make nobody mad, that's for sure. And they ain't trying to alienate nobody either, that's for sure too.
But it turned out, excuse my language, everybody, but I'm just going to say it. A lot of the stuff that people said about Moolah and the things they said about Moolah turned out to be bullshit.
Right.
So, you know, I'm not going to sit here and just because somebody writes something down or says something in front of a camera does not make it true. And so I know Twitter is real quick to judge, and so is Facebook. But yeah, I ain't on that. Ain't down with that. I will say this though, going back to the AEW show that I saw here on Saturday night, I think the people in Charlotte were expected. Charlotte is this whole area, man, is just steeped with tradition in wrestling. And like,
oh yeah,
people
definitely.
my age that have kids have passed it down, talking about, the Crockett family and all the great wrestling that's been through here over the years. Even WWE's had a ton of great shows here, since since the 90s, since
Oh
they
yeah.
finally got into this area and were able to start running. But Charlotte wrestling has a great history. The whole area, really, the Carolinas and Virginia, has a great history. But the Charlotte fans were just so polite. Some of the stuff that we saw that night, and you can watch Dark and see it for yourself. Tony Khan is doing the best he can with what he's got to work with. And when he addressed the crowd, I see in his eyes, he's got a fire in his eyes. He really wants to make AEW great. Even my wife said, well, there were a lot of the parts of that show that weren't good, but they tried really hard. And I will agree with that. And it gives indie people a chance, indie wrestlers, to get a chance, like Casey Fox, to go up and appear on.
That's how they used to do it back in the day when they would come into town. They'd have the house shows or whatever. They'd always bring in the local talent. If they were good hand, you got a booking. Yeah. Look at the Hardy Boys. How many times did the Hardy Boys freaking do jobs for WWE, WWF then?
Yep, exactly.
For years. What was his name? The Italian Stallion. He'd go and get a bunch of wrestlers and rip them off and drive them up north or whatever it was. And hey, it is what it is. Put it this way. Everybody tells that story. You don't want to talk about Grizzly Smith, but when so many wrestlers talk about how they got nothing out of the deal, but they got exposure, it is a true thing. It did happen.
Well, the Italian Stallion is still alive.
He ripped people off, but you got to say hand goes in hands, because even though they got no money, they got the exposure, and look at years later.
Well,
would they have made that without him? Who knows?
One of the old tactics that he used to use when guys would go, when he was running indie shows and they would go down there to try to get booked, is he'd get them to buy a ticket to the show and then have them wrestle for it. So you would pay him for the privilege to wrestle, is the story I've heard. And if you don't believe me, you can ask.
I believe it. I've seen crazy things over the years, and some people are still promoting now, so we don't need to talk about that. But I've seen some crazy things over the years.
And if I was gonna say, anybody out there watching, you don't believe me, you can ask Rick Diesel, or you can get the Hardy Boys put out a DVD when they were both still in WWE. The one disc was about Jeff and the other disc was about Matt, and Matt Hardy tells that story on his disc about the Italian Stallion. So
it's called paying your dues, I guess.
Yeah, so paying the Stallion for the privilege to wrestle.
Exactly.
Either way, Matt and Jeff both made a few bucks over the years in the wrestling business.
Yeah, I think they caught up, so they're all right. They ain't crying no more.
Yep, it worked out good for them.
Matt,
the crowd was so polite, and it was such a great wrestling crowd. I was proud to be part of it in that building. My wife will tell you, I'll buy tickets to go see wrestling, even if I think it's going to be terrible, just to sit in certain buildings. And the old Charlotte Coliseum is one of those buildings. Greensboro is one of those buildings. Spartanburg, where I'm headed next Saturday night, is one of those buildings. I'd love to see a wrestling show at the Dalton Arena in Raleigh, but it seems like everybody wants to run the PNC Arena. But the Dalton Arena out there at the fairgrounds is still there. The only problem is if you run it during the summer, I don't know if the air conditioning there is enough to keep the audience cool during the summer.
Yeah.
So it might be a kind of a rough trip. I've heard a lot of horror stories about that building from the old days.
Yeah, and the fans are soft in comparison to how that was back in the day. You hear stories about fans that would sit in 110-degree heat in the Sportatorium every Friday night. They said it was, but they would do it like it was religion for them.
Yeah, and I love how I know we're talking about
We
national
need
wrestling.
another show where we talk about like territories, old school wrestling, because I love this type of stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's something you're gonna have to find somebody to produce it besides this guy, because my producer, I'll be glad to come on and talk, but I'm not putting it together. So we can do that tonight. I mean, we're still at just 36 past the hour. So if you guys are hanging with us like this old territory,
still here. I'm hanging in.
I'm here for a few minutes.
But you were talking about the sportatorium, Joey. It looked nice and dolled up and everything for TV, but I think I've heard Michael Hayes and a few other people in interviews talk about what a rat's nest that place.
Oh yeah, they said that they never cleaned it. That there was stuff underneath those. There was rats. They said that there was big as kittens. They said the cats. They said that they just lived underneath you were scared. I mean, people just dropped the garbage and it stayed underneath the bleachers for years. Ain't nobody was going underneath those bleachers and cleaning up.
No, man, especially if there were rats that big down there.
And they said, and what's the name? Gary Hart used to say that his favorite place to get French fries was a sportatorium. He said they never, ever changed the oil. And he goes, yeah. He said that years later they finally cleaned the oil out, and they said they found rat bones down the bottom of the. They fell down there. They were crawling across and fell down into the drink, died, and they never get pulled out.
Well, I mean, old fry oil. I mean, I believe it. Old fry oil is the way to go, man. I'm telling you what. When I worked at Wendy's, we never changed the oil in the fryer. You just added more to it. When the level started getting down, you just added more to it. So, yeah, because I mean, you think about those big deep fryers. Those commercial grade deep fryers and how deep they are. I mean, it's gallons of oil in there. You would not be able to get it out. I mean, I don't know.
You got to pump it out. I mean, you got to pump it out. They have a pump that pumps it out and change it. You dumps it into a bin. And
I used to work at Bojangles, and we had to clean them twice a day.
Yeah, Kentucky Fried Chicken was one of the first jobs I had. I'm a wrestling manager. I grew up in Central Pennsylvania, humble beginning, and my first jobs was Kentucky Fried Chicken, and they had a machine that you would go in and pump it out and clean, and you put fresh oil in it. Yeah, just how it was. They had health regulations and stuff that they had to answer to.
Yeah, well, you think about like a Wendy's or whatever. The only thing that was in that fryer was fries. Right. It's not like a chicken place. You're talking about meat. It's hard to screw up French fries. Open the bag, pour it into the dust, drop them for 7 minutes, and you're done.
Yeah, so, I think they actually have a separate fryer for like nuggets and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think we were doing chicken nuggets when I was
there. I'm getting hungry. We need a sponsor from Wendy's now, since we're talking about them.
Hey, Matt, one thing, I want to go back to the thing at Charlotte Saturday night. One thing that irks me about all these marks online is they still want to badmouth AEW for the product. AEW is not trying to compete with WWE. They're not trying to be WWE. They're going back to the old way, the old school, with some differences. And people should realize that there's enough room for both places. And Tony Khan, I admit he's doing one thing I don't like. He's signing all these big names coming in, spending a lot of money. He does need a developmental system. Places like Charlotte the other night and all that would be a perfect place for young stars to get their feet wet. And you're talking about Casey Fox. I understand Liam Cross was at Raleigh the other night in a match also, and I think he's been part of AIWF.
That I don't know. I just see him.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either, but I kind of agree with that, Bobby. But Tony has, Tony Khan has made some comments on Twitter, like he's going after WWE and that kind of stuff. And I think
that's the stupidest thing to ever do. He needs to stay in his own lane. That's what happened to TNA. They tried to get too big too fast. They should have stayed in their lane, and they'd still be around now and be relevant.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't compete against. That's another thing. Back in the day, I'm sure you've heard the stories where Ted Turner says, "I'm in the wrestling business now." He said, "Well, congratulations. I'm in the entertainment business. I don't run a wrestling company."
Yeah, yeah, heard that a
Yeah.
lot too. But I don't know. I hope
Stay
Tony.
in your own lane. That's the way you do it. To me, I would get. Yeah, that's just me. I mean, that's the way I think.
It's like you know, we talk about like at my shoot job. I don't really get involved in office politics and everything. I call it keeping my nose in my monitor. And I think that that is what Tony Khan should do. Stay the hell off Twitter. I would not begin to tell him how to run his business. It ain't up to me how he spends his money. But you know what? Yeah, like Joey Nuggs says, stay in your lane, brother. You're doing a good job. You know, what we see now in AEW is 10 times better than the garbage you started with.
Right.
So
do you remember you remember TNA when they were on the Sports South and they were doing pay-per-views like every Friday and Saturday night? They had their own little niche and their own lane. They had the X division. It was something different. And then they changed everything and everything went to shit.
Yeah, Brian Hogan and Bischoff.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that was one thing I never understood. If we're going to talk to business or wrestling, that was one of the things I never understood about TNA was why would you hire everybody that was involved in the downfall of WCW to come into your company all at the same time? They had Bischoff there, Hogan there, Kevin Nash there.
Marks for the business.
Yeah, I've never understood that.
Marks for the business. That's all that I could figure. It's a mark for a business. You did not run a business decision when you brought all those losers in. Think about this. If I was running a restaurant and we had a cook that ended up getting fired because of unsafe health practices and my restaurant got shut down, guess what I'm going to do if I ever tried to open up another restaurant? Sure not going to hire the same cook that got me shut down before. Yeah. That's just stupid.
That's right.
Yep, I agree. Oh, and speaking of other historic venues in the Charlotte area and other wrestling companies staying in their lane, MLW, promotion out of Florida, is actually coming to Charlotte to do a TV taping for their program at the Grady Cole Center. Now, before it was the Grady Cole Center. Yeah, man, dude, I've been to an NXT show.
I've seen events at Grady Cole before. It's a great venue.
Yeah, man, now it's perfect for wrestling. Perfect.
Yeah, it has the upper balcony in it too.
Yeah, that's where I sit.
I'd like to sit in that upper balcony and watch a wrestling event, especially if they go old school and darken out the arena and just hit the lights on us. I wish I at least like that, especially if venues. Think about AEW where you said they had to curtain off certain areas because it didn't fill up the whole building. Something with the darken it out with the lights on it. It made what was going on in the ring more important. Also, if you had a down crowd, it covered it up on camera.
Yeah, that's why I like using the spot. Well, I'm not going to give away the whole magic trick here, but yeah, the lighting is critical. I'll say that. I
definitely, yeah. I mean that, yeah.
ML, yeah. So if you're interested in coming to town for that, look on MLW's website. Grady Cole Center.
About that. MLW.
Awesome.
You know, Matt, another venue around closer to you and me at one time, I wish that AEW and stuff would come, is back to the Roanoke Civic Center.
Oh God, yeah, man. Roanoke's a great place to watch wrestling. I've seen several WWE shows in there, house shows and TV tapings in the Roanoke Civic Center. That's another great building for wrestling. Really is. Perfect size. Crockett used to run there all the time. Back in the day, WCW came there a lot. As a matter of fact, you can see my former broadcast colleague when he was very young, Dr. Bill Payton, in the front row. If you watch Fall Brawl 94 on Peacock, you can see him and his parents there in the front row at the beginning of the show. Yeah. So,
is the Omni still around, or did they tear that down?
No, they tore that down in '97.
When I was growing up, they always talked about the Omni, because I grew up in Central Pennsylvania, so I grew up on WWF before it became WWF. But I used to, when it first came on to TBS, and I was able to see real Southern wrestling, man, that was something great. I was glued to the TV at 6:05 every Saturday. Then they had different times, and oh man, I loved it.
Yeah, the Omni, they tore that down in '97, and then they built the arena that's there now. They used to call it the Phillips Arena. I don't know what it's called now. But the Omni was pretty old. I think they built it in the 30s, so
Right.
it had served its purpose.
Yeah, I used to try to get my father to drive to Atlanta. He's like, I'm not driving to Atlanta so you can see a wrestling event. I said, they talk like it's the Madison Square Garden of the South, Dad.
Yeah. No, that's one place I'd love to go see a wrestling match.
I've seen multiple wrestling events in Madison Square Garden.
I think you're very lucky.
Yeah, I can say that. I've seen Bruno Sammartino Madison Square Garden. Seen Hulk Hogan. I'm pointing at the walls because they got autographed pictures of the different wrestlers.
Yeah, man.
Never saw. That's one wrestler I wish I never saw. You can't see it, of course, was Harley Race. I got his autograph picture right here. I never saw him wrestle in person. I've seen him on TV a bunch of times.
Yeah. There's a lot of great buildings up in the northeast part of the country that I'd like to see wrestling in. Madison Square Garden, of course, is number one.
I would love to see. I would love to go into the Boston Gardens.
Yeah.
I've seen a bunch of shows. I've seen a bunch of events at the Philadelphia Spectrum growing up.
That's another one. Both Philadelphia, the Civic Center and the Spectrum. I'd love to see events.
I've seen events before where we were there earlier in the day and seeing the Philadelphia 76ers play a team. And then there was a couple hours where there was nothing in there. I guess they would clean up the building and they would let you on the same ticket. If you kept your ticket stub, they would let you back into when the wrestling would kick in. They would let you get with the ticket stub in for half price.
Oh man, that's a great deal, boy.
Yeah. So basically, it was a way of trying to keep people there. I mean, that wouldn't have came before,
Well, now was the Spectrum downtown? Were there a lot of places like to get something to eat
South Philadelphia.
Oh, okay. Were there restaurants and stuff around?
Oh yeah, you're talking huge. A majority of Italian restaurants, great Italian restaurants, great Chinese foods in South Philadelphia. Oh yeah, I mean you name it, it's all there. So yeah, we would slide away, go get something to eat for a couple hours or whatever, and slide back, get in line.
Yeah, we're doing Ohio for our winter trip this year. I think maybe Philly or Chicago is going to be next. But yeah, I'm a little scared of Chicago in the winter. I mean, I know I should be scared of Philly too, but
yeah.
Hey, I live in the South. I roast 6 months out of the year, so I take a winter break and I want to feel real cold. I go up north. That's just what I do.
Oh yeah, you can get it up there.
Oh yeah, and look, I go up there for a week. I get my fill and I come on back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely. I know exactly what you mean.
But here's a couple more in the Northeast that I'd like to go see shows at, and just because of their historical significance as far as WWE goes, the Providence Civic Center in Rhode Island and the Hartford Civic Center in Connecticut, because the Hartford Civic Center is kind of like WWE's home field. It's the way I understand Hartford Civic Center is not too far from the Stamford office. So I don't know anything about Connecticut. I've never been to that part of the country, so I don't know the geography or whatever. But just because there's been so many historic wrestling matches, I've been to the historic venues down here now: Greensboro, Charlotte, Spartanburg. I haven't been to Atlanta for a show yet. I went to Greenville for a TNA show many years ago. I think they call it the Bond Secures Center or something like that down there.
I've seen TNA in Fayetteville. Rob Van Dam was there.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, Fayetteville is another place I'd like to go to.
Yeah, I got a story on Fayetteville.
Go ahead.
I was with the Insane Lumberjack Timber, and believe it or not, wrestling fans think that he looks like James Storm for some reason. I guess because they both have hair and they kind of look like a country kind of deal. And the girl kept coming up with it. She goes, "Will you sign this?" He said, "That's not me." And the woman come and for an hour straight, this woman kept coming back every 5 minutes, and it got to the point where she finally said, "Now you gonna tell me to my face as I stands here that ain't you on this here picture? That is you. Sign my picture, will you?" He said, "Fine, give it to me." And he took the picture and he signed it, James Storm #2, and handed it back to her. And I had never laughed so damn hard. Later on, James Stewart came over and said, "What was going on over there? Could you tell me?" He goes, "For over 2 hours, we've been arguing with this girl that I'm not you." He goes, "But if you should ever get sick and you need someone to fill in, I guess around here they don't know the difference."
Well, you can take double bookings in Eastern North Carolina now, James Storm.
James Storm. You gonna tell me that ain't you as I stands right here? Okay.
Have mercy. Bobby Dalton, what other venues besides Roanoke have you been to see wrestling in historic type places?
Mostly there in down in Winston-Salem. I mean, the Joel, I would have liked to went to the Veterans Coliseum down there before he tore it down.
Yeah.
But Lawrence Joel is not bad.
No, it's not.
Salem is okay.
I saw Fall Brawl 96 down there. That's where we saw the last appearance of Surfer Sting before he went to the Crow Sting. The War Games at the NWO against WCW. That was a fun night. But we bought tickets on the second row, but they didn't. They had not planned on 2 rings. I guess the building didn't realize that they were going to bring 2 rings in there. I think that was the first year they had War Games in Joel Coliseum. And so we ended up, our seats weren't there on the second row, and so we had to sit on the fourth row, but it was okay, you know.
I was there at a pay-per-view where Buff Bagwell faked being hurt and took out in the rescue squad, and then he come back and attacked Scott Steiner. He pulled the wool over, and this was after his legitimate injury on TV. It was a work and a half, but it worked. The crowd they were just dumbfounded.
Yeah, I remember thinking at the time that was a freaking just a distasteful, disgraceful angle, and I just thought that was horrible. But you know, I mean, you can go on the internet and read all you need to know about Buff Bagwell. And I've never met the guy. He might be a nice guy, but
I have too many times to count.
Another place I would like to have seen wrestling is the old Lynchburg Armory.
Oh God, yeah. I bet your old AC could tell us about that place because he grew up in Lynchburg. He's actually back there now.
Yeah, he moved back.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know who we're talking about, he used to wrestle under the name Creeping Death here in AIWF, and then after that, just Death with the Disciples of the Apocalypse.
And then he ran, what was it, C4W, AIWF in Myrtle Beach for years.
Yes, he did. As a matter of
I've
fact,
done shows down there. Last time I went to jail was on a way coming back from a benefit show for a kid with cancer.
Oh Lord!
Yeah.
So you're not the only person that caught a charge going to or coming from a wrestling.
What do they say? You leave on vacation, you go on vacation and come back on probation with a citation.
Yeah, no, that's why I do not act a fool. I do not act a fool in Myrtle Beach. Nowhere in Horry County. No, sir. No, not at all. So we're about to wind down on time. Guys, any closing thoughts or comments that you'd like to make? I mean, we kind of talked about our favorite venues, what's going on. I cannot encourage you fans enough. You know, of course, we want you to be with us on Saturday, February 5th, but if you can make it to Spartanburg, come on down. I would get my tickets in advance because usually there's a lot of walk-up business on the day of the show there, and it probably will sell out, although it might be, an hour or two before bell time. But you can get general admission tickets, and you can sit anywhere.
You got general admission, or you bought certain tickets for you and the fam?
No, I bought general admission tickets because we don't like sitting on the floor.
Right.
Because I'm too fat.
I might get tickets to that because it sounds like an all-star lineup, and I'm pretty good friends with Robert Gibson from the Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah,
I'd like to see him one last time, probably before you might not see him too much no more.
I tell you, next time I see you, Joey Nuggs, I'll tell you a funny story about Robert Gibson. I cannot tell on the air.
There's a picture right there where Robert we was at the the air conditioning down in Rock Hill. There's a sponsor for all the different places. What is the name of it? I was down there at the air conditioning place, and they were doing autograph signing, and Robert Gibson choked me on it when he was doing it.
is it ARS heating and cooling or 1 hour heating and cooling?
I don't know what it's called. It's one of the ones that's him and his wife are together. I forget their names. Gosh, I forget their names. Adams.
I'll tell you.
Adams Air Conditioning. Adams.
Oh.
Yeah, they're the ones that help sponsor the what is it, the Strawberry Festival when they did the free.
Yeah. And
they're one of the big sponsors on that event and help bring it.
Hopefully the Strawberry Festival will be coming back this spring if we can get. We'll have to see. This Omicron variant's no joke, man, and it spreads like wildfire. Whether you're vaccinated or not, it gets you. So it's just it's a rough deal, man. But we'll see how it comes out. But guys, again, we'll be back in action in Mount Airy. As you can see, we've been looking at the picture the whole hour, just about. Saturday, February the 5th, 2022 at Veterans Park in Mount Airy. Again, doors open at 4, special bell time 5 p.m. Hopefully in the next week, we will get some more match announcements. You know, I had interview clips that I've got here, and I don't want to leave. I need to play these things because
Get her done. We got time.
Yeah, that's the internet. The one thing I love about internet TV shows is you're not restricted by time.
No. So
let me find these things. So we had a couple of things that went down at the show at Seasons Beatings that I can show you here that are exclusive to our program, and they'll probably end up on the Mid-Atlantic page either tomorrow or later next week. But we wanted to show them to you here first. The first thing that happened was we were scheduled to have Pro Wrestling's DNA on the card, and Jordan Lawrence came out with a new partner and said they were going to defend the tag team titles. And when the AIWF officiating people, Commissioner Dave, Commissioner Kevin Phoenix, make a bad call, I'm quick to call them on it, but they need to be credited when they make a good call. So let's take a look at this interview with that I conducted with Pro Wrestling DNA before the Reindeer Games match. Let's look at it right now. If it's going to load. Oh, the circle of death. Stop sharing. Let me refresh. Yeah, here we go. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Let's try this one more again. Technical difficulties. I'm telling you, I'm working on getting a second monitor. It's coming, man. And hopefully a lot of this stuff will be easier to manage with a second monitor. But here's my interview with Pro Wrestling DNA before the Reindeer Games match.
Later tonight for the AIWF Mid-Atlantic Championship, I would like to bring out Pro Wrestling DNA. Some of you may or may not know that there's been an issue with the team, so let's hear it. Let's hear it. Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champions, Pro Wrestling DNA. All right, gentlemen. Jordan, we've heard some rumors going around about a possible injury. What is the status of Pro Wrestling DNA going into the Reindeer Games tonight?
First of all, let me say, hello, Mary! Well, the rumors are true. My partner, Murphy Costigan, is out injured right now with an injured shoulder. But that's okay, because I made a little phone call, and my friend, Kay Holiday right here, is going to fill in for him, the J&K Express, baby!
J&K Express! Right here, J&K Express, walking out of Seasons Beatings, AIWF Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champions, baby!
All right, here we hear the substitute for the ring.
What? What?
You say no.
Is this your interview?
Sorry. Guys, thank you for coming, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you for
But unfortunately, you can't do that.
What do you mean you can't do that?
DNA is the tag team champions.
We can be D&K.
DNA is the tag team champions.
Come on, man.
So tonight, in the Reindeer Games, it's going to be changed a little bit because it's all about the network. We want ratings, and we want to do what the fans want to see. So,
I want to see them.
you want to see them?
Thank you.
All right. What we're going to do is this. Tonight, the Reindeer Games is now going to be the Reindeer Rumble. Yes, the Reindeer Rumble. Okay. It's going to have maybe 10, maybe 20 guys. We'll find out. But it's going to have everybody in there, but every man for himself. Every man for himself. And the last two guys will be the new Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champions. Every man for himself.
All right. Well, the story's going to end the way it begins. We walk in here as the champs, and we're going to leave as your tag team champions.
All right, there you go, folks. The Reindeer Games is now the Reindeer Rumble. Could we have new tag team champions tonight? Let's say the odds certainly appear to be that way. That's all right here ringside.
All right. Well, all right. Thoughts, gentlemen? I think that was a good call by Kevin Phoenix, honestly.
Yeah, it definitely was a good call. I was surprised, honestly, if it would have been down to me. He could have stripped him from the titles right then and said, hey, we'll put him in a tournament. But
Well, it was an odd battle royal in that the last two guys in there would end up being the tag team champions. And sure enough, boy, you want to talk about wrestling's odd couple. Look who walked. Let's hear an interview with two guys that walked out of there as the new Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champions.
I don't think I've ever seen that happen. And right here with me at ringside, I have, well, one half of the new tag team champions. Here's the rookie, Matt Anderson. Congratulations. You're now one half of the AIWF Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champions.
Hey, I told you in October I was coming for gold. First show in 2022. We got gold. Now, we didn't realize that we would end up this late at night, but I couldn't think of a better partner to have. All right. Yo dije que no me venía por campeonato. Y ahora lo tengo. ¡A huevo! There's a bit of a language barrier there, but as long as we can go to Taco Bell together, we'll be all right. Thank you, sir.
The new AIWF Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champions, Matt Anderson and the rookie. That's all right here ringside.
I ain't gonna tell Matt Anderson nothing, but Taco
hey,
Bell.
I ain't never had a problem with a taco a day in my life, but I mean, it's going to
Taco
take
Bell
more than going to Taco Bell to be a cohesive unit. But
Yeah, it really is, and you know, they are an odd couple, and I'm telling you, Joey Nuggs, I've been been around wrestling a long time, man. These tag teams that are thrown together like this usually don't fare so well. And speaking of tag teams, the next last clip I'm going to show you before we get out of here tonight is of a new tag team in AIWF Mid-Atlantic. A couple of a familiar face involved in it, Caden Pierre, but he's brought his tag team partner in from Tennessee, Chandler Duggar, and they are the Fresh Princes of the Pink Gang, and they got a victory at Seasons Beatings over former AIWF Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champions, Pretty Boy Lane and Kent Wolf, and this is their thoughts right after that match ended. So here, let's take a look.
Scoring at ringside. First time for this combination is victorious. The Fresh Princes of the Pink Gang.
Hear ye. Tell about it. There is a new Pink Gang in town. And if you thought we were that before, just wait till you see the future. Get out my face.
An impressive victory over the former tag team champion, Chandler Duggar.
Listen, guys, it's 2022. The Fresh Princes are back and better. You got the Prince, Chandler Duggar, the Princess, Katie Pierre. 2022 Season homecoming to us. And shit, Lane, y'all just the beginning. Y'all ain't nothing. Pink Gang wasn't nothing until we came here together. Get that out.
Yep, and so now we got the Fresh Princes of the Pink Gang here, and man, I'm telling you what, they were impressive the other night.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, they might be they might be somebody in the future for in the tag team division for those titles. Definitely. See if they could work together as a cohesive unit and see if they can get the job done.
Well,
I've said it before, and I've said it again, and I think Pierre, I'll tell you that guy is a great wrestler. He does some great gymnastic stuff in the ring, and he can really get down. And I think that he plays that psychological warfare with people too, wearing that pink, throws them off their game.
Well, and Chandler Duggar is no slouch either. I know you weren't out there to see the match, Joey Nuggs, but Bobby Dalton, you called it. That they are a dangerous tag team, and they've got their win over the former champions. To me, it vaults them. I don't know if the championship committee would agree with me, but to me, they've got to be like, if they're not number one contender status, they got to be a close to second. I mean,
absolutely. I mean, they're aggressive, but people don't forget one thing. There's a third member still out there with marvelous Mason Matthews, so that makes them all the more dangerous.
Yep. So,
and Matt, you want to talk about odd couple and tag teams? I know that Matt and Gorilla Q are odd couple, but I got one that's even more weirder. Several years ago up in Laurel, Fort Virginia, they had the same kind of a situation. Wound up being Sexy Kavita, and the Midnight Mauler wound up being tag champions, and that didn't go over too well.
Lord have mercy. I can only imagine.
It was interesting for a while.
I hadn't seen Sexy Kavita in a long time, and I know our fans are glad of that. But I personally don't have anything with the guy. He's a terrible referee, but he does. I guess he does the best he can. All right, folks. That's going to wrap things up for us tonight on AIWF Ringside Wrestling. Sorry we didn't have as provocative a show as we did last week, but I mean, good God, man, how are you going to top the world champion, the Mid-Atlantic champion?
Stat card. That would be called a stat card in any arena.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So hopefully we will be back here next Thursday night, 7 p.m., same bat time, same bat channel. Look for us on YouTube, AIWF Ringside Wrestling Channel, and be sure that you call branch management before the snow comes on this weekend in Mount Airy, 336-325-5300. Again, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining us. For Bobby Dalton and the Prophet, Joey Nuggs, thank you so much. I am Mad Matt Carter, and we'll see you next week, fans. And until next time, so long for now.
The God of